Welcome back, everyone, to the second best movie-related show in the state of Texas. My name is James Waddington, and it's Friday, and this is Sean. So, you know what Friday means?
No last name.
Star Wars. No last name today. Yeah, you gotta earn it.
Been demoted already. Already demoted. Well, it is Force Friday.
It is Force Friday. It's our Friday show, which is always a good day. It's always a good day to start Star Wars, but it's even better when it's on a Friday.
Absolutely. So, how has the week been up for you, just in general?
Week has been pretty good. You know, not a whole lot going on. I'm trying to get some new stories, but other than that, it's been pretty quiet.
Been pretty quiet?
Yeah.
I've been trying to do, of course, a lot of research and catch up with all the young kids on all the canon that was canon that is not canon, the legends that is legends that is not legends, and
canon is canon, and
yeah, not canon. This is like papal bowls. It's like this one resends this one resends that one.
Yeah, well, back in whenever Lucas basically made a run for all, there was like 6 different categories of canon that they had, like they're all color coded, and then when Disney took over, it's like, nope, no one's canon anymore. We're gonna make canon.
and this will be a rare thing. I think Disney made a wise choice.
Yeah, there was so much going on, and like, they couldn't keep a wrap on it.
I wouldn't want to be the guy that had decided to put what on the cutting room floor, because some of the storylines I ran across were like, these are intriguing. These are a lot of fun. These
absolutely
have a lot of depth. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, if you first time joining us here, we what we do here on Force Friday is we have a couple of topics about Star Wars, and we simply just run down them and talk about them. So up first is a story about the merchandising monster that is Disney. Every year they come out with a particular day of the calendar. It's called Force Friday. Mm-hmm. I wonder where we got our name from. But this year... Not the same. Force Friday this year will be held on September 1st. Kind of before the newest Saga film comes out, but after Celebration. What do you think about the timing, and are you going to go out and buy everything that comes out?
Well, I think the timing is actually good business-wise. It is a good way as a carryover.
Yeah.
Help keep the momentum going. I mean... Sorry, you know, I came from the era where we're like, how long do we have to wait in between anything?
Decades. No, just a few years, but it was still a long few years.
I'm sorry, when you're a kid, you know,
it's forever.
It's like waiting for Christmas, except times 10.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's like.
As for buying the merchandise, it was really weird. I was like the only kid in my neighborhood who didn't really go in for the merchandise. Really didn't. I had siblings that each of us had 1 or 2 Star Wars action, but none of us were collectors.
I wasn't either. I had my few select, and that was pretty much it. Like, I had my X-Wing Starfighter, and I had, like, maybe a Luke Skywalker, and that was basically all I had. But now with, like, you know, pop figures or lunch boxes or whatever, it's like, man, there's a lot of cool stuff out there. I kind of want more stuff.
It's the curse of getting older. You look at what kids are, like, 6 or 7 have now, and you're like, is it going to be really weird if my neighbors catch me playing with this stuff in the backyard? I mean, that's some cool stuff. Yeah. Wow. You just kind of shamed me there.
No, it's okay. I'm in that boat. The reason I have an excuse is because I have a child, but I had all of this stuff before he was born. So
okay. Well, you also do other serious things with it.
That's true.
For me, I think my big coup de grace is that I bought a second-hand AT-AT at a garage sale when Jedi came out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I was already kind of peaking at that age demographic, but I wanted it because I would like hide stuff in it.
And it's an AT-AT.
It's an AT-AT. Yeah, it still worked. You know.
That's right. I'm looking at it more of as a between episodes of episode right when it comes because it's obviously going to come out right before episode 8. All the stuff that's going to be associated with episode 8 that's going to be like a sneak peek of the movie. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm looking forward to. Like all the new character designs that are going to be there, because when Rogue One came out, they had the K2S droid toy before the movie came out, and that was like, now you can't find him anywhere because he was the most popular droid of that movie, almost in the entire franchise, but not quite.
Oh yeah, nobody's going to dethrone R2. I mean,
BB-8 tried and didn't work, but close.
Nobody's taking out R2.
No.
The movies are actually about him. Secretly, it's all about him.
Well, he's kind of an ass. No one ever wiped his memory, and he didn't feel like telling Luke anything. He didn't feel like telling Leia anything, or like you're just like I'm not gonna tell you anything.
Fair enough, But then again, I wouldn't say he was always treated nicely.
That's also true. That's also very true.
I mean, he's been shot, if you remember.
A couple times, and yeah, he's been put through his trials. He hurt his friends getting smashed in a trash compactor, but he thought he failed, but he didn't because he won.
Hey,
or he was able to interface with the Death Star.
Now, secretly, it wasn't Palpatine all these years. It's actually
it's been R2-D2
slowly plotting,
killing everybody.
Slowly plotting.
Snoke is R2-D2.
That's yeah. Actually, it was right all along. There is a small person inside R2.
Yeah,
he's been posing.
Kenny Baker. We lost Kenny Baker, but he's actually going to come back as Snoke. And there you go. That's an insider tip. That explains a lot. Now,
there was a topic that you and I discussed before, and it's the issue of the Force.
Yeah.
Now, you've posed it to me now as a newbie coming into the new canon. I keep sticking to that word. I do think it's a really good point that you brought up is how do you see the Force now? Now, because in the old days it was just some old dude with hand gestures or arthritic sword fighting.
Yeah, it's like the neck pinch of Darth Vader. I will get you, or it's like, don't choke on your aspirations. Something like that. Yeah.
But some of the newer things that I've been reading up on is like, the Night Sisters. We have the Force Priestesses.
Yep.
We have the brother and sister, the Bendu, the Guardians of the Wills, which Wills with the WH, of course, goes back to. And I always take this with a grain of salt. Notes that Lucas had written about how he originally wanted the Force explained.
Yeah, that is correct. That is how Lucas kind of developed the idea of the Force. And when they were doing the rewrites of A New Hope and the storyline behind Star Wars, it sort of developed into the Force. I don't think it wasn't translating well in film form from what he thought it should have been, from what I've read. So when it developed into the Force of what we know, it kind of came out as more of a spiritual sort of thing, but more of an influence of Japanese lore of using mind tricks, kind of like a ninja stuff.
But also heavily steeped in Vedic.
Yep, also true.
That's
one of the words I was looking for, and I couldn't find it.
Hindu Vedic thought, also Taoism, and what they call Pure Land School Buddhism that went to China and then later to Japan.
Right, okay.
Of course, Japan being a big influence upon Lucas when he talked about the Hidden Fortress being one of his major inspirations. Now, with these characters being out there in the universe, how do you think they will they, or how do you think they will, or should they appear in the movies?
I think they actually should have a place in the cinematic universe outside of the Skywalker saga. Unless we're talking about new adaptations of the Jedi Order. In that case, and you could probably kind of bring in something like the Bendu, like they did in Rebels, where it's much more than light side or dark side. I would like to see it in the Skywalker saga, but I don't think it's going to happen. I personally, believe that it has a place in, say, what's the anthology films, like maybe like an anthology films of the Guardians of the Wills, or the backstory of the Night Sisters, or something like that. I think it's going to be a little much and a little heavy for most casual Star Wars fans to kind of get a hold of, if that makes any sense. Because the first, looking back onto it, you have the first introduction of the Force from Obi-Wan Kenobi, with a quote. I see here if I got it. Yeah, I got it right here. It's an energy field that binds us, penetrates us, and I'm paraphrasing. Okay, it's an energy field that created by all things. It surrounds us, penetrates us, and binds the galaxy together. That's very spiritual in a way. It's kind of Catholicism, and the way I kind of look at it.
Well,
but I think that it should stay in the outside of the Skywalker saga. That's my opinion.
Okay. Well, to continue the thought, it is the way Obi-Wan explained it is almost like the Tibetan Buddhist argument that you hold up a teacup and you pour tea in it. You represent the tea and you break the cup. Okay. Your physical form is gone, but the tea is still there. Goes on to some other form.
Right.
But the issue of the Force taking almost a sentience into itself brings in a lot of issues. I mean, come on. The Jedi had a very specific view of the Force.
Yeah.
The Sith
the narrow dog-minded view of the Jedi.
Yeah, the Jedi have kind of went from in the argument of the Force, kind of went from we were the defenders and liberators of the universe to these guys are like the Knights Templar. Yeah. They have this very, very...
I think that's why we need to get an Old Republic movie or show to sort of kind of tell the story of how the Jedi Order became to what we now think of the Jedi Order. You have these knights who have fought, good, who are versus good and evil, and then you have this sort of, religious aspect that came into it a little later with the council and the ideas of
Or was it ebbs and flows where it was very spiritual, then became militant, and tried to go back to spiritual
again.
But by that point in time, let's face it, they're part of the bureaucracy of the Republic.
Yes, they are.
I was watching, Clones, and it was like, they're searching everybody. They'll even search you, and he goes, I'm a Jedi, they wouldn't dare. It's like, oh.
Yeah, they feel like they're above the law.
Above the law, and that's the first sign of corruption.
It is, yeah. You think you're above the law. Although, Jedis of the Clone War era, and probably right after the Old Republic, they were people of the people. They would abide by their rules and laws just like any other person. But I think once you added that we're holier than thou. We are Jedi.
You're on the path down.
Yeah, that's your downside. That is the dark side.
That is the dark side because it's easy to take someone from that point of view and make them dark because it's just a different means of getting things done.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's where a lot of times my viewpoints kind of shift a lot towards the Sith because it's like I kind of get them. They're very straightforward. You get angry, fight. Use that anger, use that corruption, use that everything you have. And don't worry about, being the proud one. Use what you got.
Yeah, well, to a certain extent, that's why I think some people find the appeal of the Sith. It's like when you take a look at Genghis Khan, Attila the Hun. Mm-hmm. Why do we remember them? Because they were utterly ruthless.
They were brutal. Absolutely
they
brutal.
were, Genghis Khan removed cities.
Yep.
And whole populations. They actually can chart on tree rings when the level of carbon dioxide and oxygen changed because of depopulation.
Yep, I've read that same story there.
We remember him because he was effective. He even has a book that was like business strategies of Genghis Khan. It's like, wow, I didn't know he ran a business, but
an army is like a business. You have expenses and you have expenditures. You have expenditures and you have gains.
All right, who approved the purchase of all these camels? Bring his head here now. Not necessarily with his body, just bring his head right here.
That's what Palpatine does after them. Bring me his head. Or silence him. Doesn't tell you how, he just wants it done.
True, but then again, it's maybe why the Empire couldn't defeat
they
have terrible bureaucracy.
They have red tape for red tape, and that's the infrastructure of Palpatine's imperial rule. He had people do things for him, but he was a puppet master, kind of controlling everything. That was his downfall. He didn't have his hands in everything. He only thought he had the trusted people that he had.
How can you trust somebody?
Well, you had Tarkin, and then you had.
I'm sorry. You got to wonder about your boss. Oh, you want me to destroy the planet? No problem, boss. Transfer 401k.
Right.
You gotta wonder if your boss is that ruthless when you come into his crosshairs.
Oh yeah, that's the thing though. I think Tarkin's reign was over, or Tarkin met his end before he actually pissed off the Emperor. So he never met his end via the Emperor, But it's the same kind of deal. Like whoever is under Tarkin is the same. Like Jesus, I don't want to. How do I finagle my way out of this and still come out on top?
There's a clip, we're a little off topic, but there's a clip, if you go look at Empire, where you see yet another admiral being choked to death, and he falls to the floor.
Yeah. And
it has that flying deck where all the guys are at the consoles. And it was, I think, technically a blooper, but they left it in. The guy's like banging away at the keyboard, and you see him go... It's like... Okay, don't make eye contact.
Nothing to see. Move along.
And it's like,
move along.
That was the Admiral. He was like parking cars last week.
Parking TIE fighters.
It's like the Imperial Navy has the fastest advancement rate known to the entire empire.
The upper ranks do, anyway.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Speaking of Clone Wars, Clone Wars is leaving Netflix.
Which I'm really heartbroken about, because I had this whole feeling of, no, because I get Netflix for free through the school.
Oh, nice.
So, through the my wife's account. So I try to watch as much as I can.
Yeah.
And I'm scrambling around trying to get caught up, and it's like, no, don't take this from me. No, I'm cheap. Leave me alone.
Well, so you have till what effectively I think is March 7th. I think is when it's being pulled. My only question and my only not really question, my only hope is that Lucasfilm is developing a new animated series.
Mm-hmm.
From what I've read and understood, that's kind of their plan. As soon as Rebels ends, they're gonna bring in another animated. It's going to be on Disney XD or straight to Netflix. Don't know yet. They are still in development, from what I understand. I'm hoping it's for like maybe an Old Republic story or something before the prequels. That way we kind of get a more of an understanding of the inner workings of the Jedi,
right?
Inner workings of their placement in the Republic, and maybe how they became into service so heavily in the Republic.
Yeah,
that'd be kind of cool.
I think that would be a lot of fun, because one, you really are not tampering with anyone's storyline.
No, it's a prequel of the prequels.
Prequel of a prequel.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of depth. Some of the work that was produced for a book on Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh yeah.
I read that front to back more than once, and I thought, these have a lot of good concepts. These are a lot of fun. Just like I said, the legends and other things that have changed.
A lot of that Old Republic stuff that was no longer canon. It's amazing stuff. That's so rich in context and so rich in character. It's amazing.
I'd hate to be the writer, not only the guy that had to make that decision, but I'd hate to be the writer to know that I spent 5 years of my life on this. Now, okay. Greeting cards? Yeah, I can do greeting cards.
Well, it's like Timothy Zahn. He wrote the original Thrawn series.
Right.
None of it counted, right? When Disney took over. However, Disney and Lucasfilm, or whoever the story group is, asked him to redo his Thrawn book for the new canon. So he's like, I bet he's like, yay!
I don't know if it goes.
I wrote 3 books.
You see what the apostrophe is. I guarantee you it's a different meaning now.
Yeah, right. That's right.
Just make sure the check clears.
Yeah. Make sure the check clears before I continue on this writing assignment that you have me on.
Writing.
Yes. I bet that all the notes from his last 3 books, like, I'm gonna throw this in there, I'm gonna throw this in there.
Yeah, I know a couple of writers, and yes, every book they've ever made has tons of post-it notes.
Oh yeah.
Like all over them where they could have taken it. No, like I said, I have good feelings on the fact that if it leaves Netflix, then it means it's easier for me to maybe, like Amazon it or something like that, which I am more comfortable with Amazon than Netflix, and I know I'm weird.
No, that's fair.
Yeah, I'm just a weird guy. I'm going to leave it at that.
Sometimes Amazon has better content.
Now, there was something that you wanted to bring up. I'm kind of stealing his work here. So
we trade. We're both producers, writers.
Trying to look more intelligent than I am. The issue of Lando, the character of Lando, with the new actor Danny Glover, right?
Donald Glover.
Yeah, Danny Glover.
Wrong one, but close.
Do not judge Lethal Weapon by Danny Glover.
No, never.
But so Donald Glover and Billy D. Williams meeting.
Yeah, it seems like it's a Star Wars tradition where you have the passing of the torch. I think we talked about this last show with Han Solo, Harrison Ford meeting Alton Ehrenreich. I think it's a good idea, passing of the torch, kind of character development. Maybe Donald Glover doesn't really have a nice feeling or a good feeling of what Lando was like, so he needed to figure out from the man himself. I'm kind of hoping that maybe he puts his own kind of suave spin on the character. Maybe just he wanted him. I'm hopeful that I'm hopeful he's going to do a good job, which I have no doubt in my mind he's going to do a good job as Lando, but I'm hoping that he does put his own twist on the character.
Make it unique.
Make it unique.
But I pondered the issue to bring up tonight that I think it's the Lucas Mafia.
You think so?
Yes. This is how I see the Lucas family. And and it has, it had Carrie Fisher. Yeah. She rests in peace. She was always my first princess, so yeah.
She was the first time seeing A New Hope. I was like, God. I was like knee high to the grass. I was like, she is pretty.
Wow, something occurred to me, really creepy. I can now tell my wife, yeah, no, I have a Disney princess that I'm a fan of.
Yeah, she will never be an official princess because she was a princess before being brought in by Disney. But there's a whole article on it that I read. It's weird.
My Lucas Mafia goes like this. You had Han Solo meeting his replacement. You had Billy D meeting
his replacement.
I think it's kind of like arranged kind of publicity. Yes, look, they're passing the torch. The door shuts to the nice exclusive restaurant they're in, and they pop a film on. He goes, "You messed this up." and suddenly there's all these horrible sounds.
It's like the parent of your wife or the dad of your wife. You asked to either date her for the first time or marry her and she's like, "You break your heart, I break your neck." It's like, oh god. With his fear of he's always like 10 foot taller than you with big muscle. Even if he's not, you're like, I don't want to fuck this up.
Right, you don't mess with parents. But so they probably show him some film or photographs over dinner, nice polite dinner. And it's like, this is what happened to the last guy who started to head down your path. Now
they've tried to remake this movie 5 times. You just didn't know about it.
And then they walk out and everyone goes, "How was your meeting?"
Great.
One guy is shell shocked. The other guy's like, "It was great." I'm very confident that he will do well in his role. I really think that's what happens, and that's why they have the torch, exchange. It's like, click. Thank you, Klaus. Yes, double bourbon. Yeah, yes. And right about here, you can see where he gives up the will to live. Are we clear?
Yeah. That's right. Oh, that's good stuff. That's exactly what I hope it would be like. I'm assuming it's going to be a little nicer, but yeah, that's the key there.
Now, also being the oldster is that you found out and brought up to my attention the fact that Star Wars is doing a vinyl release.
Yeah,
I'm super excited about this.
They do put out vinyls about every time a new soundtrack comes out, but this is a very particular special limited edition vinyl because it's blue.
Oh, is this going to be another Bantha Milk reference or Blue Harvest?
I hope it's a Blue Harvest reference, but I think it's more of we made it blue.
It's different.
It's different. We made it blue.
This one goes to 11. This one's blue.
Although it actually looks very cool. We'll put a graphic up. You can see it. But it's very cool. It's like I wouldn't say tie-dye, but it's like speckled with blue, like bits all over it. It's very pretty, like painted album artwork, like the old school albums. Very pretty. I would almost consider just buying it just to frame it because it looks amazing. The record jacket looks amazing.
Once again, I'm not a merchandise guy. I'm not a collector of those things. I'm tempted to really. I'm actually excited about getting it because I still have a record player.
Yeah, I don't have one anymore. I had one. I had it many years ago. It was the Fisher Price record player.
I think that's the one.
You still have it?
Yeah, here's the thing. You know what my first... No, seriously.
That was my first music player, was the Fisher Price full-size record player.
On like, my mother's grave. You know what my first record was?
What's that?
Soundtrack to Star Wars.
Like, the Star Wars. That was an episode... Well, that was episode 4.
Yeah, when it was...
Star Wars.
Yeah, not going any further. Yeah, it was John Williams. Yeah. And you opened it up, and it had him with the orchestra.
Oh, yeah.
And a picture of a Star Destroyer. I remember it well. I traded one of my brothers, was it the guy who sang The Gambler, Kenny Rogers' album.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a school swap, so I stole it and swapped it for the Star Wars album.
Nice.
Which actually, he was okay with that. It's like, oh yeah, that's cool, dude. That's good, yeah. That's a better deal.
Yeah, and speaking of records, my in-laws, they have the Empire Strikes Back record on vinyl. It's vinyl. It's not a CD. It has a jacket. That's how I played it usually about every other time I'm over there just to hear it on vinyl.
So you can hear all the depth.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's beautiful music.
Oh, yeah.
John Williams. He just had his birthday. I think he turned 85 just a couple days ago. Man is an amazing composer. Absolutely
amazing
stunning.
Career.
Yeah. Name a movie. He's probably done the music. At least all the big blockbuster ones like Superman, Jurassic Park, the first Harry Potter, Star Wars. All the big blockbusters you can think of. He's pretty much done the music for it.
Yeah, it's if I recall, part of the thing they talked about with The Force Awakens is that the music conductor they had step aside for a little bit for John Williams to actually put his hand on some of the music.
That was Rogue One.
That was Rogue One. Okay.
So when Lucas decided that they wanted to do Episode 7, Force Awakens, John Williams I'll do it. they didn't even have to really ask him. It's like, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And now with because he is kind of Lucasfilm is kind of worried that he's getting a little older. He may not be able to keep up with the orchestras. Write all the music and stuff. He said no one is going to be writing Rey's music other than him. He enjoyed the composition he wrote for Rey, her theme. He loved it so much. He's like, no one's touching it. That's only for me. So I have a strong feeling he'll be doing Episode 8's music and Episode 9's music.
Well, that's good. I mean, I was never into classical music, but then the soundtrack to Star Wars was like this gateway to like, wow, I never considered.
Yeah, and the fact that when you listen to Star Wars, like the album, it plays in your head.
Yes, especially the Cantina song. They should use that to like.
I was more going Imperial March, but whatever.
No, ironically, in class, my instructor, actually the professor entered about 5 minutes late, and sure enough, someone in the back of the room was going dun 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 dun. Dun.
Funny story.
Cultural power.
Yeah. So when my wife's grandfather passed away, I think it was last year. He was Greek Orthodox and Greek or some Orthodox.
Greek Orthodox.
They don't call him a priest, or maybe they do. Wearing all black, head to toe black, black whatever the hat's called, and a black
tunic
thing. And every time I saw him, he was a nice man, very nice man. Every time I saw him, I always hummed the Imperial March because it looked like Vader walking down the walkway every time I saw him. And I finally had to stop and tell him, like, you do realize every time you walk around, no matter where you are, I hum the Imperial March. He's like, oh, I do it all the time. I was like, all right, man, you're cool.
Nothing sums up I'm sorry to say it was at a funeral, but
No, this was all the pre-arranging stuff. And, yeah.
No, I'm just saying the Imperial March, the whole thing. Nothing sums up like pucker factor, like dun 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 dun. It's like the Emperor's not as forgiving as I am. It's like, what? Dude,
you force choke just about everybody you meet. You basically killed your wife. You killed a bunch of kids, and he's not as
boundaries. Feel free not to share, man. My job is stressful enough.
Yeah.
I actually, since it's going to be a limited edition or thing, I just had this terrible thought of someone scratching, going.
Oh, like being a DJ on the
Force Awakens
limited edition blue vinyl. Oh man, that would be something terrible. You could be that.
Technically, it would be terrible, but visually,
yeah, it'd be like I won't compare it to like the FedEx driver rescuing the flag from being burnt by those people who are burning the flag. But I would feel as though that would be something in my mind visually I would be doing. I'd be rescuing a sacred item from being destroyed. Not the same. But never mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. But I don't know. The little mean-spirited person of me is like, oh, that'd be fun, really cool to see. But
scratching this limited edition Star Wars memorabilia. Oh,
it's like, what is that? That man who's become the epitome of evil. Is it Martin Skrilleski or something? The guy that raised the drug prices.
Oh yeah, the 4,000% profits that he's making off these $2 drugs or whatever.
He owns the only limited run of a Wu-Tang Clan album. It was like a one-off.
Oh man.
That he paid to have made.
What a jerk.
And he keeps it. And sometimes in his interviews he talks about he's going to destroy it just because he can.
See, this is why as Star Wars fans, although we're brutal and we're fanboys to our Star Wars information and Star Wars stuff, that's just flat out or plain rude and obnoxious and stupid and immature. It's like I can do it because I can. Really, dude?
Oh yeah, it's all that.
Come on.
You gotta wonder about his parents going. Well, that education paid off well.
Clearly.
He is very well.
Graduated first of the Sith class.
Sith class, yeah, that's a great way. And our yearly honorary Sith award goes to
this guy.
They'll be like, really? Well, I should have saw that coming. He doesn't even hand it to him; he just kind of throws it on the ground.
Oh my goodness, that would just be. Yeah, I would. So that'd be like someone handing Darth Maul like, "Oh, congratulations, you're now the new apprentice." Just, yeah, I know. Mic drop.
I don't get paid enough for this.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh man. I think that's all the stories I have today. Do you have any other stories?
Actually, continuing on what I brought up in the last episode for a little bit of continuity, I went on a deep quest into a time period that I don't really remember. Yeah, and I found more lost Star Wars films.
I did the same thing, but it was only by chance because someone on Twitter posted about it.
Ooh.
Like all 4 Ewok movies.
4. Thank you, Twitter. You've made the world a brighter place.
I think the post was when someone doesn't believe this person is a true Star Wars fan, they post that picture of all 4 Ewok movies.
Dang.
It's like, oh yeah, I'm that kind of fan.
Really? Because I only found. I'm being honest here. I found Ewoks Caravan of Courage.
Yep, that was one of them.
Ewoks Battle for Endor, which I remembered.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
The other 2 I'm kind of at a loss for. I've been troped.
I don't have the titles in front of me, but I can get them. I'll put them in the description and the link.
That's impressive, dude. That's impressive. That's hardcore.
Yeah. I have never seen them. I've only seen the one Ewok film, and I've seen a certain special that is gone off.
That shall not be named.
If you want to get a glimpse of that, whatever the Christmas special without actually watching it ruining your life, go to the Star Wars channel on YouTube and find the Star Wars show for their Christmas special, and it's a parody done by Pablo Hidalgo, and the spirit of the Christmas special. Just go watch it. You'll figure out why it's terrible. And Pablo Hidalgo is like, I don't even understand it. So from the man himself, the canon man doesn't understand it.
and the beauty of it is you're actually, preserving brain cells and not harming your soul.
And yeah, you'll have a longer life, happier life.
Yeah, I have to admit that I've seen both those Ewok films. I haven't seen the other 2 that I'm really curious about.
Yeah,
I thought I'd seen it all.
I think I've seen one of those. It was the one with the little girl. I forget her name. Because they had the Ewoks and then you have like an actual human girl.
Yeah, that was Battle for Endor.
Okay, was that one? Yeah.
Yeah, the Caravan of Courage was like somehow Star Wars. The writers for this Star Wars movie were secretly D&D players.
Makes sense.
And swords instead of lightsabers were coming out in this far off, wondrous world.
That's a little. How do you downgrade?
I don't know. A butter knife still kills.
Fun fact: I have never seen a butter knife in a Star Wars film.
That's true. That's true.
I've seen lots of blasters of sizes and ranges. Never seen a butter knife.
And that's a very true. I think that's really what the Stormtrooper armor obviously was designed for.
Butter knives, yeah.
Butter knives and household implements, but because you never see them.
Nope.
People are like, all I have is an axe and a frying pan. Well, they got armor.
Yeah. Now it's I've got a lightsaber. Well, there goes my armor.
Yet Ewoks were able to kill him.
That's also true, and so was
butter knives.
And so was Chewit Imwe with his staff.
Right.
Yeah.
Were they? I mean, one was throttled with a bolo. I mean, that was probably the most horrible way to go out.
Also true.
I just wonder about all the ones that we didn't see, the ones that fell in the pit traps.
Oh, the punji traps. Yeah.
Punji traps, and it's like you now have, troopers if they survived in like, I'm not making light of this, guys, like, veteran meetings about small furry animals terrifying them. All the things to be terrified by. That's got to be hard because how do you relate to somebody? I'm terrified by a 3-foot-tall fuzzball.
I can only imagine the debriefing from Endor on whatever Star Destroyer those poor troops have to go back to and get their debriefing. And so how was it? Well, we were attacked by teddy bears. Oh, I mean, they were 6-foot Rancors. They were just massive, big teeth. Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah, funny, Rancor.
Don't look.
Rancors weren't listed on possible creatures on this planet. You sure? Oh yeah, definitely Rancors. Believe me, I will never forget the Rancors.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine that debriefing. Only if, because I know that the second Death Star was destroyed over Endor. I only assume some made it off because there was still Star Destroyers left
around.
Yeah,
they were also around. It wasn't just the Death Star there, the second one.
Second Death Star.
What's the official name of it? I've never known. It's just like the second Death Star.
I think it was a DS1 battle or DS1 battle station, or I can't remember the actual name of the first Death Star, but I don't know if the second one had a name because it was never officially completed, but the super weapon was complete. They just didn't finish the actual superstructure of the Death Star.
I'm sure the plans were, when we finish the superstructure this time, we're making sure there are no ports.
Yeah, right. No exhaust ports.
No exhaust ports.
Galen Erso is not involved in this Death Star.
Not in this one. Yeah, but
he's not a designer.
But it's like the argument from Clerks. So the government hires contractors who then hire subcontractors who hire subcontractors.
Yeah.
And they look at the plans going, but this guy, he has his original plans, and these are a lot better made than these plans.
Yeah, shit just rolls downhill.
Yeah, which one should we use? Well, which one saves me money? Well, the original plans. We're going with the original plan. It's like, yet again.
That kind of brings up a little, it's like, how did Starkiller Base come about? Because that was like 10 times the size of the Death Star.
Yeah.
That was a planet-sized weapon, and it took out an entire planet system. It took out like 5 planets, Hosnian Prime.
And, for the record...
Hosnian Prime? That might be right.
I love the visuals of Starkiller.
Yeah, Starkiller Base was brilliant looking.
It's just visually, the effects of looking up at the sky and seeing the light from the sky,
They didn't do that in A New Hope when they destroyed Alderaan. They just fired their super weapon and then just blew it up.
Didn't have the technology.
Well,
probably.
They didn't have that those selfie cams with GoPros on
but
Alderaan.
The visually it was very, very great. But part of me, the scientist in me, was watching, going, "Whole planetary system destroyed. What is the then collapsing gravity well effect?" You start.
It's a long time ago in a galaxy far, far
away. Yeah.
This is why that doesn't exist anymore, because it's all in distant memories.
That's the real reason why we haven't found aliens with SETI.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They killed themselves off.
Also true. Oh my goodness, that is so true. Is there anything else?
Not really. Looking forward to continuing. I did some character research that just to touch base on. I've been covering the crew of the Ghost.
Ah, yes.
Really starting.
These fine individuals plus Hera, which I don't have, and Chopper. I don't have Chopper either.
Yeah, Chopper's the droid. I found Chopper rather interesting. It's like
he's got that wah 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 voice from like Peanuts.
Yeah, I was about to say, Charlie Brown and Peanut. What?
The Charlie Brown or was the parent or the teacher?
Any adult.
Any adult from the Peanut series built a robot, moved their voice box down. But yeah,
I thought it was very interesting crew. I liked a lot of their backstories and developing.
I don't know if you've seen any Rebels yet.
No, I'm trying to. Follow a path.
Yeah, you're going in chronological order, and that's the best way to do it. The Ghost crew. Once you get to the Rebel series, actually, they kind of do it they also do it in episodics, but they kind of tell a little bit of each character in each episode. So you get background stories on Hera, on Zeb, on Kanan, and Ezra, and Sabine. They'll have like little episodes of like their backstory, and then they'll have together episodes, and they'll have episodes of their backstory.
Which I find very, very interesting. Really, because so many of the characters, especially the non-human characters, kind of get skimmed over.
Yeah,
a lot in the Star Wars universe.
That was a big thing with in A New Hope, or the first the original trilogy, was you didn't really have a whole lot of aliens that were good guys. I mean, you had the Mon Calamari, who was the
Ackbar.
Admiral Ackbar. You had that species, and that was about it. You had some of the aliens in Jabba's palace, but they're all bad guys.
Yeah, he had Chewie,
but he's a giant dog.
It's Chewie.
It's Chewie, but. Yeah, you're very right. I always forget about Chewie because he's such a main staple in the movie that I was just kind of like, oh, he's Chewie. He's Chewie. Of course he's Chewie. He's a Wookiee. Yeah, no, it's cool.
I know it's a Texas joke, but I buy tacos from him. Yeah, Chewie.
He's Chewie, yeah. That's right.
Of course, he's always around.
Yeah, but I think having the expanded universe with the Rebels and then with the Clone Wars, you actually get to see a lot more of the aliens. And that's why I really loved Rogue One, because you had more of that aliens intertwined with the Rebels.
I did like that.
That's a funny thing. If you look at the Imperial Army, they have next to no aliens. It's all humanoids.
Well, one of the backstories that
then you have the Rebel Alliance, which has a lot.
One of the backstories is that they enslaved the Wookiee homeworld.
Yeah, to do mining.
Yeah, they basically would categorize alien species as, now you're slaves.
Yep, they did that to a lot of species. The Empire did.
So human supremacists, clone supremacists, weird supremacists.
Well, yeah, it's like you have this thinking in the Clone Wars where, you have the Empire who's enslaving species, and then you have the other humans, and the Jedi who are sacrificing clones left and right without having a second thought about it.
Yeah.
Until you develop the characters like Fives or Rex, where you actually get attached to those clones. But there's dozens upon dozens of clones that just get off. You're like, ah!
That's why I'm really enjoying the Clone Wars. I know I move very slow with my schedule and everything. But the fact is, some people address that. It's brought up.
Mm-hmm.
There are some Jedi that goes, no, we don't see you as expendable. And the clones are replying,
but we're clones.
We're clones.
we're designed to do this.
A lot of people see it as expendable.
Yeah, again, like you said, a lot of the clones thought of themselves as expendable because they knew they were clones. That their brothers, the other clones, would just step right in and take over for them.
The episode, especially with I can't remember the name of it, but where an actual clone turned traitor.
Yeah, and that was you're getting toward the kind of late seasons on those.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's getting to really good stuff.
Yeah, it's getting really good, and once again, I know I go slow, but I like sharing the experience. I like watching other people's experiences with it. Yeah. The thing is, the whole dialogue was fantastically written. It's like they're calling each other brother, and it's like,
yep,
you've literally betrayed your brothers.
Yeah.
It's. I mean, literally to the
down to the DNA, the finites of your DNA. Yeah, you done screwed us over, son.
Yeah, it's like, I've been there, dude. No, you haven't. Really.
It's like you have an identical twin who happened to grow up with you, went to the same schools as you, dated the same people as you, did everything the same as you. You don't know what I've been through. What?
You run out of eyeliner? What?
Yeah, you don't know.
That's how they, and I love the fact that they go out of their way to differentiate themselves.
Yeah, some had tattoos, some had different haircuts, some did something they joined different battalions, so they had different marks on their armor, or their serial number had different, a sequence of the same number, like fives. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they did little things to make themselves individuals.
I know we're talking fiction and sci-fantasy. And I'm using sci-fantasy because I like the Bradbury definition, not science fiction, sci-fantasy. The issue is the consciousness of a creature will seek to be individual.
Yes, absolutely.
Ultimately. No matter how much uniform training you can have, they will seek to be individuals. I mean, I'm in a school with a lot of veterans, and believe me, once they're out of the service, the beards come out, the tattoos, the hair colors, and I fully support it. It's like, you've been holding back
for however long.
Go crazy.
Go for it, yeah. And I also work with a bunch of veterans, and you can definitely tell the people who have served, mm-hmm. Because they are the ones who grow out their hair. They're the ones who show up to work, even though I work in a very professional building, who have the beards and the long hair. It's maintained very nicely and neatly, but they're also professional, but they've changed. They've evolved from their clones to their individuals.
Right. It's recapturing the sense of identity.
Yeah, that's what the military. I mean, off topic completely here, but that's kind of what it does. But anyway.
But I wouldn't say it's completely off topic because that's the experience of the clones.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
To tie it all back in, for a clone to be a traitor, not necessarily against the Republic, but the people you are going to affect on the ground level are your fellow brothers.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
absolutely.
A serious break there. I mean, you have to, talk about why I don't go back to family reunions. You have a galaxy full of people.
Yeah, as soon as you get into, there's a really interesting episode in Rebels that sort of addresses similar issues. It's a very good episode. Some people didn't like it because it was a little slow, because it is a slow building up to that episode, but it is about a clone still not in service, but sort of around, who forgot he was a soldier until the last. I want to say it's in Rebels. Correct me if I'm wrong. It might be in the Clone Wars, but I'm thinking it's in Rebels because Rex is in Rebels, and he has 2 other Rebel clones with him, and that's another clone. I think it's in Rebels, yeah. But it's a good story. It's fascinating. I think it's a 2-part episode. You're gonna love it. It's fantastic.
Well, in Clone Wars, they ran across a clone that became a farmer.
Yeah.
And hid the fact that he was a clone, but up until another clone arrives, because they had, I think it was Cody injured, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but he was staying at his farmhouse and realized, whoa, you're me. What the heck's going on here?
There was I don't know if it's a similar episode or not, or the same episode, but yeah, it's very similar in style, where he's not a farmer, but he's like a cook. So he made it to this planet where he's a cook. Don't know how. I think they explore it, but I don't remember.
Yeah, you gotta feed them somehow. Some of these guys were trained.
Yeah, some of these guys were highly trained assassins. So they gotta sneak in and eat their food and blend into the society that's there and observe and report.
Yeah.
And then kind of forget and get amnesia.
Now, of course, recently I ran across Satine and Death Watch.
Oh yes, that is a very
beginning of the Death Watch story arc, which I'm enjoying.
That is a tragic story, and there's a lot of I guess rumors about the relationship between Satine and Obi-Wan.
I've heard some of these.
And this is the story arc where you're going to see where those stories come from. So you will enjoy those series. The Death Watch crew, that's where Maul comes in because he takes over. I don't know if he comes in.
Spoiler alert!
If you haven't seen Clone Wars, better hurry up because it's leaving Netflix.
Don't be like me. Don't be like me.
He's got excuses. He actually does a lot of other things, but yeah, Darth Maul comes back in. And sort of challenges Death Clock to a duel, like the main guy from I forget his name.
So we have the super high technological society that reverts back to if I kill you, I get to keep you.
Yeah, it's similar. It's like if I kill you or I beat you in battle, I get to take over your society. Yeah, let's do that.
That's always worked out so well.
Later on in the series, you'll see Darth Maul figure out that he's actually a tough mother. Like he obviously got cut in half.
Yeah.
Came back with spider legs, was a bit crazy, and then he comes back in Rebels. So he's still around, and the funny thing is with Rebels, he's in and out of Rebels in a couple of episodes, and then this I'm guessing it's going to be the season finale. You're going to have Darth Maul. I think it's just called Maul, because he lost the title of Darth when he got cut in half and was presumed dead by the Emperor. Anyway, it's gonna be Darth Maul versus Obi-Wan on Tatooine. This is like old Ben Kenobi.
Oh.
Yeah, which kind of messes with the timeline a little bit because when you first see Obi-Wan and Luke is like when
in the New Hope.
Yeah, in New Hope he's like Obi-Wan. No one's called me that in a really long time. And he's like, but didn't you just fight Maul?
It could be the fact that 5 years is a long time.
Yeah, that
10 years is a long time.
Or maybe he just calls him Kenobi.
Yeah.
Instead of Obi-Wan. So maybe there's that. We'll see. Only time will tell. I think that episode comes out in March. So
I'm looking forward. I'm enjoying it. And for the record, I didn't think I would enjoy him as much as I have.
Oh, the Clone Wars.
Yeah. Actually, a lot of the writing, as I said about the backstory, the character, I'm doing the terrible thing of reading on Wikipedia. So
it's like Wikipedia, but for Star Wars.
Oh, no,
and most of it's actually pretty legit stuff. The Clone Wars was headed up, I think, also by Dave Filoni, who wrote and directed a lot of the Rebel stuff too. Mm-hmm. So good writer, great writer. Knows the Star Wars because he worked very, very closely with Lucas for many, many years.
No, as I said, I've been impressed and really enjoying it. And to be honest, it's kind of this thing when you leave something that you were into when you were younger, you kind of think that is the gold standard, and then you come back as an adult and read it and go,
yeah.
I'm much more enjoying the newer stuff.
So yes, a lot of I'll get back to the Clone Wars really fast. Clone Wars in particular because it brought humanity to Anakin.
Yeah, it shows greater depth.
Yeah,
greater depth.
And it showed and it filled all of the gaps that were left from the films, prequels. So in between Phantom Menace and Clone Wars, like that little bit in between there before the Battle of Geonosis, and then all the stuff between Clone Wars and Revenge of the Sith. It kind of fills in that Grand Canyon of missing information.
On that note, filling in information, I love the way they do the episode openings where it's a 1940s newsreel.
Oh yes, I forgot all about that. That's right.
But being a huge history fan and it's
stuck on Geonosis.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic because
Anakin and Obi-Wan.
As you know, I was very much studied World War II, and the issue is like this is the voice. The man has the voice. He has the clip
from what do they call it? It was Armed Forces Radio.
Stars and Stripes, Armed Forces Radio.
Yep.
But you'd go to the movie theater back then to see news.
Mm-hmm. They had the newsreels.
They had the newsreels, and he sounds. And I swear to you, they even have the little shaky cam and like that celluloid. I swear to you. Now, I get hit in the head a lot. I fall off things a lot. Maybe that it's not there, but the feel.
It feels that, yeah, definitely. And I completely forgot about because I've been watching so much Rebels lately that I just completely spaced on the opening of the Clone Wars episodes.
I'm fascinated with it because it's also not like you have to tune in every episode. You get. Let me rephrase that. You do have to tune into every episode. Correction. Yeah. But you feel like there's greater depth of time between episodes that you didn't have to watch.
Very true. It kind of gives you a little quick recap.
Right. It's like they're still slaughtering each other on Guadalcanal. 3 weeks later, after killing each other on Guadalcanal, they moved on, and basically it's introducing, and here's the story arc for this week.
Yeah, I think it is as silly as it is. It plays very well into developing that story of, again, like you said, kind of gives you that story arc for that week. It's kind of goofy, but it's good.
But it also conveys, once again, and I'm not trying to, I guess I am belaboring it. It conveys the sense that this was a real war, not just little blips.
Yeah, it was a generational war,
right? And it carries, and this is a great way to convey that by these newsreels. Is like this is happening, guys. This is galaxy wide. This is not just one set piece battle here. It's everywhere. It's going on simultaneously.
You had the Republic fleet and the Separatist fleet. Mm-hmm. And they were everywhere in that galaxy.
Right.
Outer Rim, Mid Rim, Central. I mean, everywhere.
And that's logical. I mean, with communications, if you can like send a hologram to another planet. Today, we're like, it takes 2 years to send something to Mars and 1 year to get a message back. So you can have these greatly dispersed forces, and then converge them, and then scatter them out.
That to me is one. I hope to be alive when we have developed that technology where we can send out communication to the depths of space and get it back real time without years in between like we send it and we're going to get this communication back in 5 years because our radio telescopes are
that's old. Amazing. I remember when it was 20 years.
Exactly. That's like I want it like minutes would be good.
Well, it's something that you got to look forward to is like what Douglas Adams talked about, the whole issue of the problem with space travel as it exists. If we don't come up with a wormhole technology, a string technology, a hyperdrive, for lack of a better word, warp technology, whatever, is that the ships that we launch, the carry out or will, is obsolete by the time they arrive when the ship that we sent 30 years after them has already beat them to the planet.
Yep, also true.
And so that's going to be an issue.
That will be, later on.
And just think of the weirdness of that. Mm-hmm. And of course, he's writing fiction. He's a very humorous guy. If you guys have never read Douglas Adams, I greatly recommend. Because he wrote about the concept of you have these galaxy-wide governments waging war against other galaxy-wide governments. And so basically the war is already over within 2 years, but ships appear 30 years from the past to continue the war. They were the first generation launched when the last generation already solved the war. So they burst back into fighting wars that were already resolved.
Oh.
Because of the speed of the drives. You see?
I see where you're going with that. I wonder if that played a contributing factor into the Clone Wars. Like some of the technology wasn't as developed as other planets. Like they kept sending in old stuff, and people would just arrive. Some hyperdrives hyperdrives in this particular universe were slower than others.
Right. I mean, there's something that they brought up in the old Knights of the Old Republic. Mm-hmm. That a lot of the earliest days, you were talking about a star-spanning group of people that were dedicated to 100-year journeys.
Yeah.
And now
that was a nice throwback to other literary works of people's 100-year journeys or generational journeys that they were on. Yeah. So
So that alone is just we spent 2 years in hyperdrive to reach Antares 9. Technically, it's 50 years later, and the war's already been won.
Yay! Go home. Aww.
Or would you fight because your side lost?
Right. Oh, that's true too. It's like,
because think
about
now
we're here. Now we can retake the flag.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
It's a surprise attack. They would have never expected us. We've been trained. We've been prepared. Yeah. We're carrying out our mission.
Your weapons are 15 years out of date. But yeah.
Yeah, but from orbit.
That's right. We're badass. Oh man.
They get pulled over by a police cruiser and impounded. Their tech is so bad.
that would be something special right there. Oh man, I've got nothing else. Do you got anything else?
I was just thinking something I fired off to you in an email about not just doing Star Wars, but maybe other commentaries on other sci-fi stuff that's coming out.
Yes. So we have thought about, and he pitched it to me, doing a sci-fi show. I think that's a great idea. Doing a sci-fi kind of encompassing anything that's not Star Wars, since we have our own Star Wars show. That will include pretty much anything from the U.S. and across the pond. I was thinking kind of including Doctor Who into that sci-fi. It's sci-fi. It's just, ish. Drama. It's sci-fi.
Hey, I have a great respect for Doctor Who. So,
yeah. But I think it's a great idea. We just got to come up with a name.
True, and it's also where we would focus, because the neat thing about sci-fi, sci-fantasy is it's a lot of it, and I'm terrible at it. Look, I'm still watching Clone Wars.
That's okay.
I pitched this like monumental task, like, Sean, you're still watching Clone Wars. You realize this? Yes, but it would be brilliant. You're still watching Clone Wars.
Yeah, okay, we'll get there.
But my cat makes better sense than I do. I've been up too late.
That's yeah.
Yeah.
You can start understanding your cat. You've been up too late.
Yeah.
Actually, when you pitched this the other day, I actually came up with a name, and I did a quick search just to make sure it wasn't used. I was thinking like hi-fi sci-fi show, but I got some negative feedback from a coworker. They're like, no, don't do that. I'm like, but it sounds cool. It's the hi-fi sci-fi show. It kind of rolls off the tongue.
Nice alliteration.
Yeah. But give it some thought. We'll think about it. We'll get some new content up here. Hopefully we'll get to do an actual movie review. Life's been a little crazy. We haven't been able to get to the movies. He's wearing a DeathStryke shirt. So if you want any of our cool DeathStryke gear, please make your way to TeePublic. We have our own shop there. We'll put the link in the description where you can buy our shirts. You can put the logos on mugs and lunch boxes and
phones.
You can get a phone case. You can get a laptop bag. You can get all sorts of cool stuff there.
Cool trucker hats. Yeah, they're back. Oh yeah.
I don't think you can get trucker hats there. Anyway, check it out. We'll also put links to our Twitter channel as well. But other than that, I'm good.
I'm good.
Alrighty. Well, this will be the end of our show. Just want to say thanks everybody for watching. Please hit that subscribe button down there. Hit the thumbs up button.
Give us comments,
or the thumbs down button if you hate it. Cool. If you liked it, cool. Tell us about it. Tell us other topics that we should talk about. Until then, take care.